Welcome to Save Our Children TV. I'm back at it for a brand new video. Now, tonight we have 13 stories to talk about tonight. 13. And before we get into it, I just want to let you guys know that I did drop a video earlier on this channel. So if you have not checked it out, go check it out. Subscribe to it. Thumbs that video up. Share that video. That video was about CJ So Cool allegations, and what I thought about that situation. So, um, go watch that video and let me know in the comments down there what you think about um, that video. But let's get straight into our first video. Let me look it up. I know it's just news article about it. So, well, our first story is about a YouTuber. Her channel name is Isis, and the video that she talks about went viral um, today. A lot of people was talking about it, reacting to it, and I wanted to put my 2 cents on it. Now, for use, this story is very disturbing. It's very graphic for a number of reasons. But it is about how she met a man and she married him, and he SA her 4 different times and end up having children, 2 children by her. And SA his 2 children that he have by her, who were 2 and 4. And there's a lot of speculation going on with the video, and I'm gonna pull up that video. Um, the title of it is called Trophy Wife. I Married a Monster. So, um, 6 days ago she dropped it, and that video that she posted already have 2.2 million views. So we're going to get into it.
Hi ladies, hi trophies, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. If you hear any noise in the background, that's the new baby. A lot has happened since the last time that I recorded. I think the last time you guys saw me, I was in my second trimester, and yeah, I think I did post an update in the community section when the baby was born, and I said that I would be back soon, and that was a few months ago now. I thought that when I came back on here that it would be to maybe do like like some kind of newborn favorites or eat my new baby or something like that. But um, unfortunately, um, it's been a little over a month since I had to end up leaving my husband. Um, I honestly don't even really know where to start with this, just because it's just such a hard topic. And I honestly thought that by the time I got on here that I wouldn't have any tears left because I've just cried so much. Um, it's like I built this channel and this whole brand around being this man's wife and trying to teach other women how to attract good men and provider men and all these different things. And I truly held my husband or saw him as the bar um, for what every woman should, type of man that or type of husband that every woman should aspire to have. And I didn't realize that the person I married was actually going to be my biggest nightmare. So basically, when I first met my husband, as I've already talked about in another video, I think it was my single mom video, I explained, a little bit about how we met. And I really thought that that man was my Prince Charming. Um, um, so when I first met my husband, I thought that he was my Prince Charming. I thought that he was my knight in shining armor, and he portrayed himself to be this amazing, upright, righteous Christian man. And I believed him. Um, I think shortly after we got married, and this is something that I haven't talked about, I started noticing like certain things changed with him. And I just started to see a few things that I didn't like, but I honestly thought that some of these were things that I could get past. Um,
So look at the words on the screen. He argued me 4 times in the first few months of our marriage. So that's a red flag. That's a red flag.
it's like sad to even say like I could get past some of these things. Um, I don't even know where to start. um, 6 weeks ago, I was changing daughter, my 4-year-old daughter, and noticed that
We're gonna stop it there because the details are very gruesome. So, more of the story is she changed her 4-year daughter's diaper. She said it was red down there, and she suspected her husband did this. Her and children left. She did return to the hospital. They didn't have the right testing at the hospital. She went to another hospital, got the kids tested. Came back that he took advantage of two of her children, who are also his children, biological children. And people speculated that um, she didn't get the two other boys checked. And this is the thing: when she first got with him, in that first week into the month of them being together, and he violated her 4 times. That's a red flag. That would mean it would have been time for you to leave that relationship, to leave that marriage. And sometimes victims don't leave marriage because it's hard. It is hard to leave when you know you love a person so much, and you sometimes you don't believe that he would do this. But in this whole situation, there was so many red flags, so many that this woman missed. He took advantage of her 4 times, then took advantage of his own children. And this is the thing: once he did this to you, from day one, you should have left. The first time he did this to you, you should have left. It shouldn't have took for him doing this to you 4 times, and then to the children, for you to leave him. You knew from day one he wasn't no good. But this called manipulation. He wanted to manipulate you. He wanted to think that he was a good person. So, you know, these children are going to be scarred for the rest of their lives because they're a victim of a horrible crime. And women and men in this type of situation just got to make better decisions. Don't lay up with a man who takes advantage of you and then have children by him because he's going to take advantage of his children just like he took advantage of you. You know, just the whole situation is crazy, you know. And, you know, some people were saying, how did she not know the red flags? Why would you stay when you know he did this? Why would you give him a second chance? Why would you allow him to be around these children when he did this to you? And when I was married, for your children, it's a lot, um, that we could specify. And like these other channels, YouTube channels, was saying, right? A lot of these women that are on these platforms, that are dealing with especially these channels where you think that with these relationship channels, you think they are cuddles and butterflies and rainbows, but in reality, behind closed doors, it's a different picture, and we just gotta make better decision when it comes to relationship. My prayers go out to these children, go out to this woman, but this video, I Married a Monster by ISIS. This video should wake not just women up in these type of situations, but it also should wake up men too, because it can happen to anybody in relationships. Believe it or not, and people don't speak out about it because a lot of times they're scared of the perpetrator and they don't speak out about it. But we gotta start speaking up and about these type of situations to get closure. We gotta expose the person that's doing us wrong because that's the only way you will feel a relief by talking about it and not hiding it. Because once you hide it, it's gonna continue to build up inside of you and eat you alive. It's not gonna ever go away. It's not gonna ever go away. You will always remember this. You may forget about it sometimes, but that trauma will always be there unless you get the help that you need. So continue keeping this family in your prayers. You know, sad situation. Second story out of 13. A teacher, a female teacher, she gets 30 years in prison for enticing a boy. I'm gonna pull up the article and we're gonna talk about it. Teacher gets. And yes, we're exposing this teacher. The picture is already out there. This is her. Maryland taking an L. An ex middle school teacher is sentenced to 30 years for illicit sex acts with an underage student and will serve only, she will only serve 12 months in jail on a 30-year sentence. How pitiful. So the teacher allegedly sexually abused the student in a classroom, in a car, at her mother's home, and at his house, and only gets 12 months in jail. Only sentenced to 30 years. So a former Maryland teacher pleaded guilty in June to illegal child sex crimes with a student and was sentenced to 30 years in prison. However, she will only serve a year behind bars after a judge suspended the vast majority of her sentence. On June 20th, Melissa Marie Curtis pleaded guilty to 3 counts of third-degree sex offenses with an underage middle school student during her sentencing Friday. Curtis also was given 5 years of supervised probation, according to the Montgomery County State Attorney's Office. Once released, Curtis will be required to register as a sex offender for 25 years. She also won't be allowed to have unsupervised contact with minors other than her own children. She should not be around any children, let alone her own children. She should be in prison for a very long time. According to a previous statement from the Montgomery County Department of Police, it's a Special Victims Investigations Division, in October of 2023, began a probe into an adult male's allegations that in 2015 he engaged in sexual acts with Curtis when he was a minor and she was 22 years old. The incident continued for several months, while the victim was a student at Montgomery Village Middle School and Curtis was a teacher at the same school, the statement said. The alleged victim at the time was in the 8th grade and 14 years old. He allegedly volunteered for an after school program Curtis ran. Police executed an arrest warrant for Curtis on October 31st, 2023. Curtis turned herself in to the authorities on November 7th, 2023. The former student claimed that Curtis sexually abused him nearly 2 dozen times. Citing court documents, DC News Now reported last year that Curtis sexually abused the student in his classroom and in a car, at her mother's home, and at his home. The news outlet also said, citing charging documents, that Curtis touched his P word while in the classroom and performed oral sex on him. Also, she's accused of providing alcohol and marijuana to the minor. And she only gets 12 months on a 30-year sentence. While there's men currently in prison to this day who was convicted of the same crime against young girls and are doing life in prison or doing up to 40 years in prison. But yet she gets to go to prison for a year and get out. What that's going to do? She took advantage of this child when he was a minor in middle school, took away his innocence. Yet she gets to go to jail for a year, be released back onto society, and we must just forget that she did this. She should be in prison for a very long time. She should not be able to breathe the same air as people in society. To commit this type of act and you don't even get prison time is outrageous. In Maryland, y'all should be ashamed of yourself because you have a predator walking among society in a year. So next year she'll be out of prison. And she should be sitting in prison for the rest of her life. Because what she did was scarred and ruined this child's life for the rest of his life. He will forever be scarred. And she ruined his life. Society is really broken. For a teacher to just only get under a year and she's eventually looking at 30 years in prison, how? How was any of this okay? There should be people outraged about this, protesting about this. She should be in prison, not a free woman in a year. It's disgusting. If roles were reversed, that male teacher would have been going to prison. He went and had a second chance. It had been one and done. Let's move on. Story 3 out of 13. Child killer Suzanne Smith is denied parole. So she was recently denied parole. And this story is out of, I think, let me see what the story out of. I believe it's out of LA. Oh, South Carolina. So South Carolina taking air. Suzanne Smith is denied parole 30 years after killing her two sons among ABC News. Now look at her, right? Is she crying for herself or is she crying for her children